Hey y'all, this is Billy from Perma Pastures Farm. Seeing me in a new location, or at least one we haven't been in a while. And as you can see, it looks like a barren landscape right now, but it didn't used to be. This is one of those areas where William worked quite a bit to try to clear out a lot of stuff to turn this mess of a forest into silvopasture, okay? And that meant taking down a lot of trees, and you'll see a lot of debris still laying around, but that's not a problem. But I'm going to show you in a second what the problem is, and it starts over here. Here's one of the edges of my property, and as a little side note, you see this hot wire all the way up here. You see this insulator goes around the perimeter of the entire property. Remember when we talked about the 3 rings of defense? You might want to go back and check that video out, but that's not really what this one's about. Right over here is my neighbor's property, and the scourge of these hills over here is something called Chinese silvergrass. Animals won't eat it unless I guess you got water buffaloes or something like that. Nothing wants to eat it, and it's you know, it's just awful. I mean, it's a fire hazard, you name it. But now that we cleared this area over, it's going to want to come this way, and the number one reason why is that it doesn't like shaded areas, okay? And it likes areas where it's not shaded. So I got a problem, and I need to solve it. Now, remember, permaculture is a list of tools. It's basically a toolbox. So the tool we're going to do today is based on what Jeff Lawton teaches. If you have bare ground, first of all, that's an open indication of poor management. Let's just walk over here a second and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. This here might as well be bare ground because by and large it is. Now, if I don't do something here, and you don't necessarily have to seed, but I promise you, that stuff will make its way over here. Now I got a bigger problem. So what's the dog I'm going to bring to the hunt? Well, like I said, Jeff Lawton, you want to outcompete unfriendly weed regimes, okay? Wherever you see briars and thorns and thickets, stuff like this multiflora roses coming out of the ground, it's an open indication that your soil is jacked up from the feet up. But we know how to beat it. We've talked about it numerous times in numerous videos, and today we're going to show you one of the methods we use to get ahead of at least invasive things like, or what they call invasive, things like Chinese silvergrass. It's not indigenous to here. It was brought over, thank you, Mr. Government. That's who brought it over to use along the highway systems, and now it's, you know, it's destroying fields everywhere. So let's go over to my bucket and I'll show you what I'm using. All right, let's first of all talk about why this thing was even messed up to begin with. We've been here, you know, November last year makes 3 years. And we're still playing catch up for the homesteaders that were here prior to us. They have way more cows than they ever should have dreamed of on this property, and there was no management at all with things in the forest. Animals, basically the cows came in here and destroyed most of the trees. 80% of them got to be taken out, and we're keeping around the ones, William has tagged some of them, the ones that need to go, and then of course we're going to keep the others. We got a little bit ahead of it, you know, through the winter, but there's still a fair amount of work to do. Hopefully by next winter we'll have it done. So this will basically turn from a junk forest into a silvopasture, which means right here above me, this little swath all the way through here, I got clear ground. And it's bare, you know, this is dirt. This ain't even soil. Here's how we're gonna get ahead of it. Right here in this bucket, I got a combination of a bunch of things, okay? Some of it's gonna be some warm and cool season grasses. Some of it also is from a pasture mix that we've been using for a long time. I'm gonna break out my phone here to look at everything that's in it. Now this comes from Peaceful Valley. We've been using them a long, long time, and they have really good seeds and really good blends. And in addition to the Kentucky 31 and a few other grasses that I got in here, inside this good bug blend, now they got a high growing and a low growing bug blend. It ain't cheap. I'm not gonna kid you, but it is the best mix we've ever used, ever. So I don't care what they're charging, I'm gonna keep using it. Now I don't get paid to say that, it's just what we used. In fact, they don't even know I'm doing this. Anyway, here's just a small glimpse of what's in here. In addition to every amount of clover you can think of, there's a little bit of alfalfa, white yarrow, clover, carrots, celery, coriander, daikon radish, dill, fennel, parsley, red radish. Now we're going to use this not only here, but also in some of the areas that we've overgrazed. And you can see some of some of it right now. Where you don't see green, where you see bare ground over there, that is where we made the colossal mistake of letting cocoa overgraze. And the truth of it is, like I always say, I am responsible. As a patriarch out here, I'm responsible for everything my family does and fails to do. And that's including myself. So I have to own it. The good thing is I know exactly how to remediate that because we've already done it on this property when we first got here. So we'll deal with that later, and it's basically gonna have the same mix. But here's why I'm putting that good bug blend in here as well. It's not because of bees over here, although that's not a bad thing for them, but also there's a lot of what I just stated there that is actually medicine. One of which being yarrow and just about everything else in there for those sheep that we have running through here. Chickens are gonna take their fair share of it. And that daikon, for example, the daikon radish in this hard ground, I mean, this ground's as hard as woodpecker lips, but I promise you, once that daikon takes root, it's gonna blast it out and it's gonna do what it's supposed to do. And guess what? Like Jack Spirko always says, you put a daikon radish and you leave it, come back a while later and you're gonna see a bunch of worm castings down in there. That's exactly where we are, ain't that right? Milk, blah. Yeah, my little puppy over here, he's helping out too. All right, here we are at one of the higher elevations at my property. And I want to point out two things. This is my edge of the line. Over here is my neighbor's. That's Chinese silvergrass. All this stuff you see right there, that is Chinese silvergrass. And you'll notice at the tree line, or what used to be the tree line of my property, that's where basically it's the demarcation point. And look at it. It's already wanting to make its way over here. You can see it all up in here. We got the rams over here, and you can see where that stuff is coming through. Well, like they said, the Forrest Gump on that school bus can't stay here. So I'm gonna do my part to displace this stuff. And like I said, if you don't intervene, those unfriendly weed regimes are gonna have their way. So basically I got this on like setting number 3. I'll play with it a little bit. And I want more coming out because I got so many seeds that'll make your head spin. So of a 5 setting thing, we got number 4 going right here. And what I'm gonna do, let me just go ahead and say this because you won't hear me over the rustling in the grass. I'm all the way up here. I'm gonna make my way down there, and that's gonna be a workout, which I kinda need right now because I need to knock off some of this chub that I put on through the winter. So I'm gonna basically walk down here. I'm gonna work my way all the way through these trees. Now, when the leaves do come on, a lot of these seeds, some of them are gonna come up, some of them aren't, and then later on, they're gonna stay dormant. And then later on, when we come back and clear out the rest of this for Silva Pasture, it'll be here. But the big thing is not letting, this is like basically having 2 armies, one on side of the other side. I got my army here, and that silvergrass represents the Huns on the other side, okay? Or better yet, we're the Romans, they're the Visigoths. They're about to kick the doors in. But I need ramparts, I need something out there to at least slow them down, and that's exactly what this represents. So I'm gonna go ahead and work my way down, putting in my minefield. You can even see right here where some of this stuff has already made it over. William found out a while back too, we have successfully dealt with this stuff before, and he found out if we just basically stay ahead of its growth cycle, keep whacking it down, guess what? We can get ahead of it. But there's also some other things we're gonna bring to bear regarding this stuff. Don't wanna talk about it yet because it's still in the experimental phase, but it does look promising. All right, I basically got this whole hillside, okay? I need to bring that into production. And there goes my intrepid puppy right now, going after the UPS guy. Good dog. Anyway, over there, as you see out in the field, there's a lot of patchy stuff. And like I said, there's really nothing more there than just hay that we put in its place. We don't really need to do much more. In fact, where the chickens are up the hill, they're making the rotation behind the sheep. Now, clearly, I'm not gonna put this stuff down anywhere in front of the chickens because they're just gonna eat it right up. But they did kind of work that soil a little bit. So it's gonna rain tonight, or actually tomorrow morning. And yeah, there he is. It's gonna rain tonight. It's gonna rain tomorrow. So that's exactly why I need to put this stuff down right now and get it off and running. So, you know, you don't always need to seed, you don't. But in this case, this is one of those things where it might be helpful to a lot of people out there, where maybe you're trying to bring something into production and maybe your neighbors haven't, or you need to create that zone between it. That is a really good time to seed, especially right now, this time of year when things are going to start hopping and popping anyway. But just hang loose. We'll show you the before and after over there, and I think you're going to be shocked at what happens even in one season. All right, y'all, if you need anything from us, we got bone sauce and comfrey back in stock. Don't forget, we got that butchery class coming up very, very soon. Be there, be square. And also, there is the Farm Where You Live conference. That's coming up too. We'll leave all the information down below. EMP Shield, anything else you need, Harvest Right freeze dryers, we got it. Till next time, this is Billy from Perma Pastures Farm, where permaculture is my passion. We'll see y'all next time.